Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbett, the scientist turned mindset and high performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. My guest today is Chanda Coston, a Navy veteran, PMP and business strategist who helps purpose-driven entrepreneurs, especially women over 40, turn chaos into clarity and grow businesses that make sense and money. Through her programs Built to Blueprint and the Momentum Mastery Collective, she helps her clients achieve success that feels sustainable. Welcome, Chanda, and thank you so much for taking the time to be on my show today.
Thanks, Claudia. I'm excited to be here. I can't wait to have this conversation.
Yeah, I was looking forward to this as well. Now, Chanda, you've gone from Navy veteran to business strategist. That's quite a change of direction, I would say. So what prompted your decision to change your career path?
Actually, I had a loss, and in my loss, I established my nonprofit, and I realized in doing the work in my nonprofit, mentoring, coaching, teaching classes, that it was more aligned to me. It felt like it gave me that warm and fuzzy feeling that like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, which is not very far-fetched from a consultant, right? So I went from Navy veteran over to corporate, and I was a consultant. But consultant is very mission driven with the government, right? It's like hitting all those things, those milestones. And I realized I liked helping people. I like seeing people get an aha moment, making people understand information. And I wanted to pursue that and see what that looked like. So quite the pivot, right? Not exactly direct.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I started attending coaching programs, and a lot of my peers would say, I need you to mentor me. Like, I need you to coach me. And I was like, I'm just not set up for that. And so I thought about my nonprofit experience, and I thought about my experience with my peers, and I was like, well, let me see how I can make this work. And here I am.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think
Yeah.
that sometimes we just have to go through those rough patches and
Yeah.
they help us discover what our true purpose is. And it sounds
Yeah.
like you have found yours. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I hadn't have lost my brother, which is what happened, it wouldn't have jolted me to the point of asking myself, am I happy with my life? And
Mm.
if tomorrow was my last day, would I have been happy, right, with my impact and how I live my life? And so it just kind of pulled me out of hustle mode, right? And it made me look at my life to say I need something more meaningful, and starting to do the work towards that. Definitely.
So important.
Yeah.
What core discipline or mindsets from the military has most influenced how you build and help others build sustainable businesses today?
Definitely the structure and the discipline.
Mm.
I picked up a lot of time management along the way, right? Those early mornings. It's
Yeah.
like out of the door by 4 a.m., right?
Woo.
Yeah. And I had small children, so it was like shuffling all of us out in the morning to get us on our way. And then I pursued my degrees while I was in active duty as well as outside. So it was quite the management of time and all the things that go with motherhood and go with being in the military. So definitely the structure and the discipline is that piece that I'm really good at when I say, let's do an audit and see what your calendar looks like. See how you're spending your time,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Everyone says they don't have enough time. You do. We got the same 24 hours.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
Yeah.
tough sometimes, though.
Yeah.
It really is. What has this experience taught you about yourself? Because it sounds like it was a really challenging time, but you made it work somehow. So what did it teach you about yourself?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Someone told me I was a professional pivoter.
Ooh.
Right? But I would like to say that during all those different pivots, I evolved, right? Because a lot of times a pain will bring us to a point where we realize that what we're doing is not working and we have to change. And I think in each one of those pivots, that was the moment, right? I was in an abusive marriage. I ran to the military so I could take care of my children. And then after I got the stability and the structure and the discipline from the military, I wanted to be more present with my children. So I pivoted into corporate. And once I was in corporate, I realized I liked what I was doing, but I wanted to do it for myself, right?
Mm.
And I did all that. I transitioned into independent contracting and government contracting as a consultant for myself. And I lost my brother. Like, as soon as I did it, I lost my brother. And my focus shifted from building my company as a government contracting firm to building my nonprofit because it was the pain of losing him that fueled my passion. And it was in that I realized, like, wait a minute, there's something to these classes and to mentoring, through programs. And I decided, well, let me see what this coaching thing is like. Right.
Mm.
And so in all those moments, I think we have to give ourselves permission to evolve, permission to grow, permission to change, right? Um, and be okay with it.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree. So often it feels like maybe a failure when we
Mm.
have to pivot, but I think it's very courageous to do that and to explore different options because sometimes you
Yeah.
just have to try things before you know if they're if you like them or not, right? So you can't
Yeah.
know before you try it. So and then you might have to, as you said, pivot and just get closer and closer to the thing that actually works for you. So I think
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
Yeah. I think entrepreneurs, people that are wired to be entrepreneurs, I think there has to be a self-trust factor, right?
Mm,
It's
mhm,
because we're stepping outside of the system, right? And the structure that society says is okay. It's okay to go to school. It's okay to get the job, to work the 20, 40 years, and then it's okay to walk away from that. But when we say, you know what, I'm going to be an outlier, I'm going to be a rebel, I'm going to do things on my own terms, there takes the amount of courage and confidence and self-trust to do that. And I think in each of those situations is creating that so much more so that when I feel like this isn't working, I need to do something different, it's like a no-brainer. It becomes easier over time, definitely.
mm. Do you feel like a rebel, or is that something that was hard for you?
I, I think the world sees me as a rebel. I don't see myself as a rebel. I feel like we only get one life. And one of my favorite sayings is YOLO, right? I don't want to leave here and have any regrets, whether it's how I spend time with family, how I chose to live my life, how I chose to serve, how I chose to spend my time. I like to travel. So I think all that matters, being bigger on doing the thing that fuels you but also doing the thing that gives you the ability to create moments, right?
Mm, mhm.
And I think that's what entrepreneurship is about. It's about exploring all the freedoms, all
Yeah,
the
that
freedoms.
sounds good to me.
Yeah.
When did structure with soul become your personal philosophy or mantra? Was it born from a burnout? Was it from clarity? How did you come up with this philosophy?
It definitely was a mix of the two. So, like I said, when I left the government and I started my own consulting firm, I did enough business, right, to pay my bills. I still had younger children. They were in high school. At that point, I have 5 children. They're adults now. But at the time I lost my brother in 2018, my youngest three were one was leaving high school and two were still in high school. One was transitioning in high school and one was in high school. But long story short, I had children to take care of, right? And so even though it was my brother was taken by gun violence, and so I felt like I had to do something, right? And so that's what prompted me, right, pushed me to start a nonprofit because I wanted to service people if I could keep another family experiencing what we did. And so I literally had launched 2 business, right, from scratch at the same time with a family of children at home, and it was in the middle of probably like maybe the second year, I started thinking like, I'm ready for something different. I don't think I'm happy doing the contracting thing. Like I'm in a field that I've been doing for 20 years, totally good at it, like degrees, certifications, the whole nine. And I was just like, I'm not in it anymore. And so, okay, what does that look like? So it was a matter of realizing that my nonprofit, the area I serviced at the time was 4 hours away from my home. And so every
Oh.
time I had an event, I did all the operation pieces and managing everything logistically to get it set up. And then I would drive in, haul my family in for the weekend, and then we would serve, and then we would go all the way back home, get ready for the week, and everybody's off to all their different activities and work. And we were in the office at the time, and it was just like, okay, this is not sustainable. And
That
it's like,
sounds
yeah.
exhausting.
And so it was burnout, but it was also that clarity of saying, okay, what is next and what does that look like for me?
Mm.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Now, you talk a lot about chaos in entrepreneurship. What does entrepreneurial chaos really look like? And how much of it can be avoided by having good structure? Because in the beginning of building a business, there's usually a lot of trial and error, right? Before you figure out what works. So I feel that once you know what's working, it's easier to build a structure and systems that just work. But what about in the early phase when you just don't know, when you just haven't figured it out yet and you're still throwing spaghetti at the wall?
Oof. Um, what I tell my clients, right? There's two types of systems. There's the personal development piece of systems,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
always goes into the time management piece, right? Things like that. That's aligned with that. But then the other side of that is the business systems and the business structure. I think in both
Yeah.
situations, it's very important to pour into yourself. If you can afford a coach, go get into some books, right? Because there's plenty of people who are doing the work, and you just have to kind of, if you want it bad enough, you're going to have to dive in and get the knowledge. There is chaos in the beginning because passion alone won't pay the bills.
Mhm.
I tell people not to walk away from their job first, to take the time to do the work in the background so that they can still live and eat and all those things. But definitely come up with a strategy, come up with a timeline, do the market research, make sure it's a viable idea, make sure that it makes sense long term, and that it fits the season of your life, which is the big piece for
Mhm.
me. And
Mhm.
so you can have a great idea, but if it doesn't align with the season of your life, it's going to be very difficult, even if you're passionate about it, right?
Mhm.
And so it's having those important conversations with someone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's
It, yeah. So, but going through the minutia, I think this is where community comes into play, accountability comes into play, having that support system. If you don't have an internal support system, get into some of those Facebook community groups where there's lots of other people that are already doing the work that you can kind of tap into and ask questions in a forum, right?
Mhm.
Outside of Facebook, there's Reddit, right? There's lots of places you can tap in and ask questions, just to try to get your bearings. And then, of course, looking at people that's already in the field doing the work to kind of align to what it is you want to do and how you want to provide services or products for your clients. But
Yeah.
absolutely.
You have the internet, right? There's so
I,
many, so many
yeah,
communities at your fingertips.
so much right now.
Yeah.
So much.
Now, if you had to design a business from scratch that is both as profitable and as peaceful as possible, how would you approach this challenge?
Mm.
Hmm.
Well, you don't know what you don't know. But at
Yeah.
this stage in life, at this stage in life, I'll probably do one straight to coaching, teaching. Yeah, I think it's my thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, I think consulting was just a pen stop, if that makes any sense. The skills I
Yeah.
got from the military allow me to do it for the government. It allowed me to consult to the government. And so it was like, okay, you're good at this. You've been doing it for so long. You know this stuff, right? The
Mhm.
education is in the certification, it also gave me the structure. Say, okay, well, now I have order to it. Now I understand the systems. Now I understand the workflows, project management and program management. You get the administrative piece as well as how to actually execute things in some type of order, right? Which a lot of people are missing. So I definitely took a shortcut by going the route I went. But yeah,
Transitionings. Well,
yeah,
to a systems person like you and me, systems are kind of sexy. So
they are.
we also know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there who prefer to wing it and who feel constrained by systems. So, what do you think is the most misunderstood aspect of systems, especially among those creative, purpose driven founders out there?
I think people need to understand that systems and structures are actually sexy because they give us freedom, right? Without the systems and the structure, life would be chaotic and unmanageable, which is what most of them are experiencing. I think the number one thing I hear from my clients is like, I'm so overwhelmed. And
Mm.
once we go through the pieces and I give them some personal development resources, and then we talk about what it is they want to accomplish and the best way to get there and try to help eliminate that noise. And I'm kind of meeting with them on a regular basis to hold them accountable to execute, right? The thing that they say they wanted. Then they basically meet the statistic, right?
Mm.
Statistics say if you tell somebody about it, you're
Yeah.
65% more likely to achieve the goal. But if somebody walks with you through that, you're like 95% more likely to achieve that goal. And so they see like basically they're showing up for someone to do the thing they say they wanted to do. It's not my goal.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But
but I think,
yeah,
yeah,
accountability is just so important and it's so helpful.
yeah, it is. But if people change the mindset and reframe, right? That's a limiting block or belief around systems and understand exactly what good systems are and what that looks like and how to incorporate those and adapt and take those new habits. I think it would change. I know it changes a lot because it works, but I'm talking about it as a whole, right? For the person that doesn't have a coach, it's like, okay, how can I take this and put it here and make it better here? Like, see the outcome, the end goal. I think it
Yeah,
works. Yeah.
it does
So,
for sure.
yeah.
You and I, we help people identify their mindset blocks. What is one mindset block that even you still struggle with, and how do you work through it when it shows up?
Ooh, transparency. Mindset block for me. Um, I don't know if you can see the grays in here, right? But in our generation, everything was kept intimate, professional, certain things you didn't do in public. And I have been pushing against this whole social media thing for a very long time. So when I decided to step into this space, it was me being okay with showing up in spaces, unfamiliar spaces, right?
Mm.
And
Hmm.
so it's doing the work. And one of the things I always tell my clients is you have to make your goals non-negotiable.
Yeah.
So me being here today is absolutely making my goal non-negotiable. I'm an
I love that.
introvert, but um,
Same.
yeah, I didn't need this in corporate, if that makes any sense, right? They
It
were
does.
familiar with my work ethic, with my projects, with my resume, like, the history, all of those things. They look at me and they're like, oh, you're attractive on paper. That's sexy, right? But to come into this space, they're like, Chanda Coston, who are you? Like, what do you do? Let me Google you really quick. Let me look at your socials. And it's like, and so it's being okay with that. That's me. But no, other people have more challenging, I think, limiting beliefs around getting stuck in their own heads and procrastinating. I'm not a procrastinator. I can tell you how
Yeah.
to get over it, but if you don't apply the principles, it's still not going to work. Um, yeah, but
Yeah, that really resonates with me because I'm an introvert as well. I didn't want to go into social media or anything, and here I am, podcast
yeah,
host.
yeah, no, I get that a lot. Everybody's like, you should start your own podcast. I'm like, baby steps.
Yeah. Once you're ready, just hit me up again. I can share some tips. Now,
We'll do that.
yeah. In your experience with working with women over 40, what unique psychological or emotional challenges come up at that stage of life when you're trying to scale a business?
Um, there's two. I think the imposter syndrome shows up for many of us in many different ways at different levels, right? And so it is believing that not only do you fit the role, you qualify, but you belong here, right? A big part of it, I think, in the scaling piece in this age has to do with the social media piece. And it's understanding how do I show up in these spaces and be okay because I'm older, I have gray hair, I have
Mhm.
children, I have have all these things, right? And the world will say that we don't fit the model, right?
Mm.
Um, to be the next influencer. But if they look at the science behind it and the numbers behind it, people would much rather do business with an older person than a younger person. And so even though yeah, I know, right? And so even though they will, it's just basically allowing them to understand they belong. And I think the other one is, just in my brain, delegation in systems. So one of the things I do run into is when they're at the point when they're ready to scale, it is understanding that the holes and gaps they do have, where they need to go back and refine things so that they can not be the single point of failure. Because if you are that, you can't scale. And it's trusting the world and what you've done enough to release it, not feeling like you have to be engaged in every decision, and trusting the people that you have in position to do those things, right? And you be well enough aware or situationally aware to check into the reporting as well as the systems to make sure they're performing and operating correctly. And so it's getting them to kind of let it go.
Yeah,
Let it go. So
that's a tough one for a lot of people, right?
it is. It really is.
And I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs also think that scaling means always adding something, like adding more clients, more office, doing more marketing. But you often talk about refining rather than adding.
Mhm.
So can you explain what you mean by that?
Absolutely. So I tell a person who's going into business, whether they're starting or they're refining, that you need to be aware of your client journeys, of your operational pieces, your workflows, your SOP, like all those things should be in place. And so once you start going through everything it takes to run your business from beginning to end, you need to identify all the holes and gaps. If you're looking to scale, but you're not looking to increase personnel and things like that, then you need to make sure that you're automating, you're delegating, even if it's to a contractor, or you're eliminating, right? If there's things in there that are causing bottlenecks or that needs streamlining because it's more steps in the process than what's required, right? And so you just have to make sure you do the work. And for a lot of people, they get overwhelmed by looking at it as an elephant, right? But you eat an elephant one bite at a
Mhm.
time. And so it's having someone that understands how to break down the business into those pieces so that we can look at a segment at a time and they're not completely overwhelmed by the entire piece. Like, I don't know how to do that. I just know what I do. I don't, and I say, wait, let's calm down. Let's take that one part at a time and look at those different pieces and make sure that they're all connected, but they're also operational as they should be individually. And then if we need to refine those, then we can refine that and then make sure that it's plugging into the right pieces and it's working the right way and you're getting the results that you need. So that if a rush comes, you won't break, right? You'll be able to withstand the increased capacity that that would bring. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, but in this day and age, there's so many resources around the automation piece that I say
Sure.
lean into it, lean into it. So,
What's one system or structure that you wish every founder implemented in their first year that would save them hundreds of hours later on?
one,
Mhm.
uh, I think service-based business, definitely the calendar piece. Um, I think I'm trying to think like most people don't need a VA their first year unless they're doing really good. Um, yeah, I think the calendar piece. I think if you had to go and respond to every single person that reached out to you to get a meeting on your calendar instead of a link being available for them to go and book based on your availability, I think it makes a difference.
Mhm.
Um, a CRM is a basic thing that people a lot of times mismanage in order to know who you've come in contact with, where did you meet them at, and what was the last follow-up that you had with them? What's the last interaction? Are they in your pipeline? In order to generate more income, you know, they just taking up space. Like, what do you really have that could create income for you? And I'll leave it at that. My business is completely automated, so
Ooh, sexy.
yeah, I'm like,
You don't need
yeah.
anything else. Awesome.
But no, in the first year while you're still figuring it out, yeah, I mean, You need to always be on top of your money. Your numbers don't lie. So,
Yeah.
which goes back to that pipeline, right? It all plugs in. And so I'm like trying to segment it. But yeah.
Yeah. Getting all the puzzle pieces in place. Now,
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in holistic health and sustainable success. So
Mm.
I'd love to learn more about your personal health framework. What do you do on a daily basis that helps you stay happy, healthy, and productive?
Whew. I start every day with, I'm a person of faith. So I start every day with prayer. I typically work out after that, right? So Peloton girl, I have the bike. I get a Peloton, I do some floor work, I take a shower, and then I transition into my day. I typically don't eat until afternoon. And then, yeah. Mondays are my personal development days. Tuesday through Thursdays are my client days, business days, in and on my business, Tuesday through Thursday. Friday is self-care. It's whatever I want to do day. Just it's trying to
Mm,
stay. Trying to
like
stay, okay?
like that.
Yeah. And then the weekends are for family or serving. And
Mm,
so, yeah, Sundays are typically spent resetting for the week. So I'm doing my calendar audit to see, make sure I check my blocks for the week before, see if anything needs to come over, as well as what my week looks like for the following week. And so that is me. Now, what do I do? That's my day and my week.
mhm.
I'm big on self-care. Self-care as an introvert means unplugging. I will unplug my phone for a day, a weekend, or week. Okay. And I like to travel. And I love sunsets and sunrises. So I try to catch as many as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm big on feeding myself. I think because if I don't, then I'm worse for it, which means I'm worse for everybody. Let's be clear.
Right.
Yeah.
So good. Now imagine 3 years from now. What's one thing that you have let go of and one thing that you've doubled down on to reach that next level of success in your life and business?
Hmm. 3 years.
Mm.
There's so much. I have the reason my business is completely automated is because I like to travel. I am in the process of considering moving overseas. I'm currently in the US.
Oh.
And so, yeah, I am looking at different options. So, I think if anything I double down on is creating more of a passive income to remove myself from work even more,
Mhm.
even though I have a reduced work week already. And spending more time doing the things that I love. I have a Frenchie. I'm big on family. I'm big on travel. Big on laying around in the hammock. It's just why I have to work out, right? Um, Probably the
Awesome.
wrong person to ask from a business perspective. In the sense that I'm not looking to outside of anything that is passive, I'm not looking to scale anything. So I would probably be scaling my investments. So
Mhm.
I do have some real estate, right? I have some stocks. So doing more things along that line, honestly. 2026, I'll be pushing more into doing more real estate. I have a few investments, but I want to increase those more over the next 3 years so that I can step away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. And last but not least, where can our listeners find you online if they would like to learn more about you, work with you, or just connect with you?
Let me visit my website at chanda-co.com. And I am Chanda 2_CO on all socials. I would love to connect.
Well, Chanda, thank you so much for talking and for sharing all your insights with us today. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Keep up the great work. Take care and talk soon.
All
Bye.
right. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show or share it with a friend. That way you can support the show and help me reach and support other entrepreneurs like yourself as well. If you would like my help to figure out how you can go from overwhelmed and overworked hustler to empowered and confident leader, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions and book a free 20-minute strategy session with me. Can't wait to help you get wired for success. Until next time, take care. Bye.